love that we spent that entire episode and we didn't comment on your costume.
Yes.
I feel bad now.
No.
Like, oh man, we should have done that.
It's even better. I like it better.
I like that. That's great.
I'll just leave this clip in.
Yeah.
Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello and welcome to Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And this is our 2020 Halloween episode.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Before we get started though, did either of you guys watch anything recently or rewatch anything recently?
I've been trying to watch a movie every day, 31 days,
Yeah.
Halloween kind of thing. But
Right.
so I started out with like this Funko Pop advent calendar. And so whatever one I came out, I watched that movie. So it was a bunch of Warner Brothers titles. So like Nightmare on Elm Street,
Okay.
Exorcist,
Right.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, so it's the stuff that everybody's kind of already seen a lot. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I was a little
Okay,
disappointed, but
yeah. All right. Well, so what have you watched on that so far, or are you kind of just done with it?
Yeah, that one was only 13 days, so it was like
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining.
Right.
The Shining was in there twice, so The Shining, Doctor Sleep, Beetlejuice,
Okay.
Annabelle, The Nun,
All right.
It Chapter 2.
All right. So like okay, cool.
Yeah, your basic shit, you know.
Yeah. All right. All right, cool. Well, what about you? Anything?
Not a lot. I'd say I guess I've been watching The Haunting of Bly Manor on
Okay.
Netflix.
Nice.
That'd be the most recent thing besides the movies we've been doing.
Yeah.
It's all right. I liked The Haunting of Hill House or whatever. That one was really good. That I remember, and this one's okay.
Right.
I don't know. It's drawn me in as much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not finished with it, but the last episode was pretty sweet, so I'm excited to finish it.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird narration over it too for some reason. Like the first scene of this series it's because I guess they're doing like an anthology type American Horror Story thing, it seems.
Okay.
So the first scene is like a bunch of like rich people at a like wedding reception, and they're like exchanging ghost stories, and like this old British
Excellent.
lady says, "Oh, I have a ghost story, but it's pretty long," and then they're just like, "We don't got anywhere to go," and then it just starts the actual show.
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna tie it back in, but it's already like I'm almost done with it, and it's just used for a narration plot
Like,
type.
are you afraid of the dark type of thing?
Yeah, so I don't really see the point to it at all. They could have just, because it takes place in the 80s,
Okay.
they could have just shown that. And I don't know if they're going to have something to do with the narration in the end.
Hopefully.
But at this point, I don't see how it's going to really matter. Because I'm almost finished with it, and it's like, okay.
And they've never brought it up.
Yeah, just the narrator will say a few words at the beginning, and that's
Okay.
about it.
All right. Cool. Huh? All right. So overall, it's like,
It's all right.
all right.
I don't remember much of Hill House, but I remember I liked it a lot.
Okay.
And this isn't as good yet.
Yeah.
We'll see how the end turns out.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. Is that it? Or
About, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was intending to watch more horror movies, but so far I've only rewatched I only rewatched Candyman, and actually that movie's aged really well. I gotta say, like, it has a pretty eerie quality to it still. like when you watch it. I don't know if either of you have seen it, but like
No.
Oh, it's interesting because it's like it's a horror movie that sort of is exploring sort of more realistic type of, like, it starts off being the type of horror movie that almost like has it's sort of almost like a kind of Silence of the Lambs type of thing, where except instead of it being about like Jodie Foster trying to find a killer, it's about this reporter who so basically she's investigating like urban legends, and this urban legend that she's investigating has to do with, like, she's not a reporter exactly, she's actually, it's more for school, so she's like she's basically trying to explore this urban legend about this gentleman who in like this urbanized area who basically, like, he was like a former slave, and so, like, I'm not going to explain the whole backstory because the movie does it, but like basically he's like it's this whole thing where like somebody goes to the mirror and they say his name, and then he comes out and he's allegedly kills people who do that, and there's been like a number of weird like related incidents that had to do with that, so she's investigating, and you can kind of figure out like sort of where it's going at first, because it's like so she's investigating whether there's any sort of supernatural thing going on, but then, of course, inevitably with this type of movie, and the same thing happened with The Ring, inevitably the main character decides to try it for themselves, and in The Ring, Naomi Watts decided to watch the videotape that is cursed. And in this movie, the main character decides to say his name in the mirror 3 times. And, but it actually ends up going in a different direction, though, than I expected. Like, you kind of think that it's going to go that it's going to sort of turn into sort of a generic slasher movie, but it actually is more interesting than that. It sort of has like an Alice in Wonderland type of feel, where she's sort of, it's almost like she's kind of encountering one sort of odd scenario after another. And it gets so bizarre and strange. I definitely would recommend it. It's aged really well. It's very thoughtfully made. I actually found it really scary too. So, and I hadn't seen it for a while, so I didn't really remember it. So it was interesting to rewatch,
It's been on my watch list for a while, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
And I think the remake was supposed to be out by now, but it got pushed back like everything else.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so, which is a bummer. But and then there were sequels to it, but those aren't really worth seeing. I mean, the second one's kind of interesting because it takes place at Mardi Gras, but that's about it.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then I also rewatched I'm Thinking of Ending Things again for the 3rd time. And now I think I have that movie figured out. So that's good. So, but I had to rewatch it again because I felt compelled to. I was gonna watch something else that night. I was gonna watch Ginger Snaps, but then I was like, I think I'm gonna rewatch this instead. So I'll do Ginger Snaps later. So. Anyway.
Oh, I've been rewatching Harry Potter's.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Which of those is your favorite?
Oh yeah, I always liked the 4th book.
Yeah.
But the first 2 books actually go pretty fast.
Yeah.
They're like 2 hours long.
Right.
Don't cut out much from the books either.
Yeah.
They're still short-ish books at that point, but
yeah. Also, like those first 2 Harry Potter books were kind of more like simple, as far as like the writing goes and stuff.
Yeah.
So. All right. Cool. But yeah, I do remember those movies like relatively well, I think. So.
Yeah, they're good adaptations.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started on our Halloween episode. Yeah, it's spooky. Yeah. So we'll go oldest to newest as far as their release date, which would mean that my choice goes first. And I chose a made-for-TV movie from the early 80s.
Oh, it was made for TV?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So it's titled Mazes and Monsters. The reason I chose it was because I thought that it was going to be a propaganda picture about the satanic evils about D&D. And I mean, it sort of was, but it ended up also kind of being something else too, which was not what I was expecting. It ended up kind of being more about this kid who basically goes insane.
This movie was fucking dark.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it actually is quite dark. It kind of made me feel like shit, to be honest. Like, I was like, wow, I can't imagine people back in the early 80s made for TV movie. Oh, Mazes and Monsters, this ought to be interesting. You know, back in those days, like made for TV movies were kind of considered sort of safe home entertainment, but I don't think I'd feel very comfortable like knowing, like, if I were a parent in the 80s, if my kid watched something like this, I'd feel pretty shitty, I think. Like,
I mean, because the first red flag too that I had was that it was free on everything.
Yeah.
Like I watched it just on YouTube legally for free. It wasn't like a pirated YouTube. It was like on the YouTube.
Yeah,
free.
which kind of indicates this is a movie that
Okay.
nobody wants to have ownership of.
Yeah.
The DVD that I bought of it is a
Yeah.
picture from a different Tom Hanks movie. It's not even him from Mazes and Monsters.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I think I may have seen that cover, like, because I remember, because when I lived in the Midwest, I won't say which state, I went to I used to like go to a bookstore that had like a bunch of cheap, like crappy DVDs in it, like dollar DVDs that nobody wanted, that they just dumped at a bookstore, and I found a lot of copies of this there, and I remember that cover very well, and the cover totally is not honest about what the movie is. Like, it's like, it almost looks like a Da Vinci Code-esque type of picture where Tom Hanks is like standing in front of this mysterious sort of world type of like environment with mazes everywhere and stuff. It makes it look almost like a supernatural movie. This movie is not that at all. It's if anything, it's a portrait of madness. I think it's based on a book that somebody had allegedly written that they'd claimed was like an investigative piece or something, or that they were involved in it in some way.
Yeah, I think the credits said something about that.
Yeah, but as far as I can tell, because I mean, it seems, because apparently this was based on something that had allegedly happened, although I guess it turned out that the situation was not really like anything. I guess it was based on some situation where like some kid went crazy playing Dungeons and Dragons. But then I guess it turned out that the kid was already like, he already was like mentally ill to begin with. And then like, I guess, I don't know, he was involved in a D&D game that went wrong or something. I don't know exactly what the details are, but this movie though kind of combines like the aspects of that. And then also like, in the 80s, there was this satanic panic thing where people were talking about like underground tunnels and caverns and stuff where people would perform rituals. And this movie doesn't really like touch on the Satanist aspect of it, but it does have the tunnels, and it does have them technically playing the game in the tunnels, which I guess could be considered a ritual, although really it's more like LARPing. Yeah. Like, to be honest.
That's what it was. I just wrote it down. I was like, oh, they're LARPing now.
Yeah. So, except did LARPing exist in the 80s?
No. I mean, okay. This was like the first version of it ever.
Okay. It's like
this movie.
Yeah. This is the LARPing prototype.
Yeah. This is where it originated.
Yeah. But to explain the plot, though, there's not even really much to say. It's basically, so the kid from Meatballs, who I guess is like some kind of smart kid, is involved in this D&D campaign, or not D&D, Mazes and Monsters campaign with a couple of his friends, and they need a fourth player, basically. They're all students, and they need a fourth player, and Tom Hanks plays this kid, I think Robbie is his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Who is I guess has had a history of various problems, and so he goes to and he ends up getting involved in this group. He was a former Mazes and Monsters player, and I guess it didn't really result in anything good for him, which is why he quit playing. But he decided to get involved in it again, and but this is sort of an accelerated version because they decided to.
Parents' wishes.
Oh yeah, against his. Yeah, his parents didn't want him to play Mazes and Monsters again, but he chose to, with this sort of shady group of students that, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really understand like. I mean, I didn't really like any of the characters in this. Like, I didn't find any of them to be likable.
No.
They were kind of just all smart Alex, but they weren't even like that clever. They were kind of just, I don't know, the type of characters that you really wouldn't want to learn about in a movie like this. There's just nothing really interesting about any of them other than they were sort of just generic outcasts. But the film didn't really go into detail about like it didn't show them having any kind of chemistry with any of the other students, or it didn't show even what that chemistry was. It didn't seem like they were like, bullied or anything, at least not to like a severe degree. So, yeah. Or if they had a history of it. I mean, these characters are pretty much blank slates. I mean, am I not?
They showed like that brief like clip for each one of them at the beginning to show their home life, which
right
really have anything else to do with the rest of the movie, but
yeah. It just felt like a missed opportunity, because like this would actually be like a plot that I would sort of care about if like there was something about these other characters that I knew, but there isn't. So the first half of the movie is kind of a slog, really, which is a bummer because I thought that was going to be the most entertaining part. Because I thought that it was going to be some kind of silly, like they're going to play D&D or a D&D like game, and it was going to be sort of this shady, exaggerated thing where they're casting these witchcraft spells, and no, that's no good. And I thought it was going to be like basically like sort of like a Christian propaganda type of thing, where they sort of emphasize the evils of the satanic stuff and downplayed the fact that like D&D and games and tabletop games like that are actually like, relatively harmless. If anything, they actually, can provide a lot of like therapeutic good for people who may feel kind of emotionally restless. I mean, there's actually like a lot of good things about that game that I feel like, maybe it would have been funny to like watch a movie like this and sort of have them sort of like just show like this dark, evil, ridiculous side of it and have it be really dated. But instead, it's actually kind of like the film actually sort of takes it seriously and sort of doesn't. It's basically just like a bunch of like college kids playing make believe,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the one little character point that I noticed was the good-looking one. I don't remember his name.
The bleach blonde.
Yeah, the blonde dude. He wanted to become a game programmer, designer, or something. His parents were giving him shit in the beginning. He's like, no, don't. They could be a hobby, but you should go for computers.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, a little character detail.
Yeah, I thought that would have been interesting if they went somewhere with it, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm. And his parents were kind of right, because like I went to college for computer software to try and do games.
Yeah,
because when it comes down to it, like a lot of game design companies want just regular ass programmers, not people that actually went to school for game design, because you have a better knowledge of how to actually program instead of being pinpointed down into just video games.
Yeah.
So he should have listened to his parents, but still, followed his dream.
Well, I mean,
his parents were still dicks about it.
Yeah, I didn't like his parents. I didn't like any of their parents, really. I mean, except for, I did feel bad for Tom Hanks' parents, I will admit, because it's like, I mean, I'm going to feel bad for somebody who's already lost like one son, and I felt bad for Tom Hanks's character as well, because like, even though we didn't really know anything about him, we didn't really know anything like that was bad necessarily, or that was troubling. Like, he wasn't like an obnoxious character or anything like that, whereas like the main characters kind of, you sort of see the reflection of their troubled home life, but then they end up kind of just doing sort of like the thing that you sort of expect them to do, which is like, darn, and so then in the second half of the movie the sort of focus of the film sort of shifts more toward the Robbie character and sort of the various sort of distresses that are going on with him and what ends up happening with that, which that's about when that's when the film sort of takes a real dark sort of turn.
It was real dark, especially like when I said oh shit like out loud, because it was that guy that owns the bird.
Yeah,
he was like talking to the bird and like planning out his suicide in the cage.
Yeah.
He's like fucking like step for step how he was gonna do it, and like was serious. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
that was horrifying.
Just because they didn't want to play that day.
Yeah. No, that was horrifying. That was really like creepy.
Yeah.
And yeah, he basically goes mad. Like he has these visions, and so like, okay, so I guess should we start getting into spoiler territory? Like ultimately.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so the second half of this movie, he basically like flees to the city, if I'm not mistaken. You know?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Well, and, I mean, they do the LARPing. Well, okay, so there's a montage of them playing regularly.
Right.
And Tom Hanks starts getting with the girl of the group.
Yeah.
Just over a montage, which was really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then
it's a clunky montage.
And then they move on to the LARPing.
Yeah.
In the caves. And Tom Hanks has he stays in character.
Yeah. He'd never basically. Yeah. And it gets pretty awkward actually. Like
yeah, they're like, okay, you can cut it out now, we're done.
Yeah. So that kind of gives you a little bit of like
Daniel Day-Lewis right there.
That pretty much, it kind of gives you like a little bit of a different side of the character. It kind of shows a glimmer of what's to come, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah. But so by the way, like, I don't know, like what were your initial thoughts like early on? Like
I thought what you were thinking, like it was going to be more like weird propaganda kind of thing. I also wasn't expecting it to be like made for TV, but you could definitely tell where the commercial breaks and stuff were.
Yeah, when it like fades to black and then comes back. Like it did that like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, he's in the city. He's all sketched out. He thinks he's on this quest. He's trying to reach these, because earlier in the movie he's like reading this book called The Two Towers, which. So, all right. So this is kind of interesting because whenever I when I was growing up, I would read The Lord of the Rings when I was younger, and I remember like a couple people asked me like, "What am I reading?" And I said, "Oh, I'm reading The Two Towers." And this was around like 2003 or 2002. So you know, the 9/11 was kind of fresh in people's minds. And I said, "Oh, The Two Towers." And they're like, "Oh, you're reading about the Trade Center." I'm like, no. The Two Towers, like Lord of the Rings, you know, happened to me a few times, you know? And so when I saw Tom Hanks, like with the book, The Two Towers on his shelf, sort of in the back of my head, I was like, man, I remember when people thought that I was reading about the World Trade Center, you know? So then the twist of this movie ends up being that the destination that he's trying to reach happens to be the World Trade Center. And he's going to climb all the way up to the top of the building and basically kill himself. At least that was what was destined to happen, so to speak.
Because he goes missing.
Yeah.
And like there's clues, and one of them was like he had a map of, I don't know, the Two Towers. And even one of the characters mentions, oh, it's Tolkien or whatever, and then they eventually somehow track him down and figure out that he's in New York. Yeah. Like right when they showed the first shot of New York, I was like, "Oh, Two Towers, okay."
Yeah.
All right, I see
there
where
you
this
go.
is going.
Yeah. Like I was hoping it wouldn't go in that direction, but it did. And you know, so the gang, you know, they go all mystery gang on the plot. They chase him down, intercept him on the top of the building, and they manage to talk him down. But man, like Tom Hanks, his performance in this was pretty emotional. Like pretty pitiful actually. Like when he's on the phone with his parents, like I was getting some like Captain Phillips vibes. I mean, I was like, oh wow, he's really, I mean, it's interesting because you got the sense that he was sort of taking his role very sincerely. But the problem is that the script bites, you know, like it's just really, there's not really even much to say overall about like the overall presentation. I mean, there wouldn't have been anyway because it was made for TV. But typically a lot of made for TV films, even a lot of bad ones, try to make like full use of a poor budget or a low budget. This film didn't really do that. Most of the movie is kind of just people standing around talking, LARPing. Most of the dialogue kind of most of the plot happens kind of through conversations. And then at the end, like it just kind of gets really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, they managed to talk him down, but then, I guess then should we talk about the conclusion? Or
there's a point where Tom Hanks stabs a dude.
Oh yes, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So at one point these two what do you call these two thugs sort of
they're like gonna mug him because he had that bag of spells.
Yeah.
Basically what
spelled
like just a prop for his game.
Yeah, or as he called them, scrolls.
Yeah.
And they cornered him. And he managed to take one of them down.
They whipped out a knife.
Yeah, which I was shocked. I was like, whoa. He didn't kill him.
Oh,
but,
right. That's how they figured out he was in New York City, actually, now I recall.
Yeah.
He called him back up, freaking out, because he like woke up from his psychosis.
Yeah,
I guess.
that was it. Yeah.
I don't know where I am. I think I'm in New York City. I don't know how I got here.
Yeah, well, because like Mazes and Monsters was triggering like visions.
Yeah, he was seeing shit.
I mean, I know it sounds silly when I say it out loud, but that's essentially what was happening. Like,
like in the cave, he saw a monster and was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then once like the other players got to him, they just thought he was acting well. Like, oh, nice, we believed you, even though it was him actually seeing the vision and freaking the fuck out.
Pretty much, and the monster itself looked like it could have been made at summer camp. I mean, it really looked pretty poor.
Looked like a Power Rangers villain.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It was like at that level, Power Rangers. So, yeah, so at the end, ultimately, Tom Hanks, his character, Robbie, ends up being institutionalized. Like he's kind of in at first you sort of get the impression that he's at maybe like some kind of halfway house or like rehabilitation center. But then they actually start talking to him and realize that he's still in Mazes. He's still playing the game. He's still in Mazes and Monsters. And it's like
what was his character's name? It was
I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. But he's still in Mazes and Monsters land, and so they decide to just indulge him. Yeah.
Which was weird as well.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, he's fucked.
Yeah, and the narration was really sad. It was really solemn and somber. They were like, "So we just kept on playing the game." Just a really grim, grim, like depressing.
The quote I wrote down was "death of hope, loss of a friend."
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
And that's pretty much what this was.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Yeah.
Real dark.
Mazes and Monsters is far out, like that one guy said. Like, it just, I mean, that's just, I guess that's what happens.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a TV movie. So this was real dark for one of those.
Yeah. Honestly, this was not good. I mean, I don't think anybody could really like agree that this was a good movie.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those movies where you like, it's probably better to not let your curiosity get the better of you, because it may sound kind of fun, but it's really not. It's actually like pretty miserable.
Yeah.
So
kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Would not recommend. It is a poor quality cautionary picture. So PQ PP. I don't know. Do either of you have anything else to say? Because I don't.
Not really.
I think I'd rather just forget this existed, to be honest.
I mean, there's Hanks being in character. He dumps the girl because he takes a vow of celibacy in his.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Character, and she gets with the blonde dude.
Yeah, which is like,
okay.
I mean, guess that made more sense anyway. Yeah.
Someone a little normal.
Yeah. I mean, the characters could have been likable if the film had focused more on their home lives, honestly. Because once it got into the Mazes and Monsters stuff, that's kind of when everything kind of went out the window. So
Yeah.
Or if that part had been maybe a little bit, I don't know. If the people who had made this, maybe had like some kind of knowledge about what D&D was like, or what those kinds of like tabletop games generally are like, I probably would have made this more enjoyable for me. But I don't know. Beyond that, I think I'd just give it a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. One for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Like you said, I thought it was going to be something completely different. I thought it was going to be like a fun, cheesy. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was heavy.
Yeah, it really was. Actually, I'd say out of the 3 movies on this episode, this is the one I like I'd say I hate the most. Like, yeah.
So, I think so too. Definitely, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, let's move on.
Okay. So on to my pick then.
Yes.
Well, what would you rate it?
What
your
rating?
Yeah, it was a 1.
Yeah.
1's all around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't watch it. Unless your only other alternative is Christmas Story 2. Then you can watch it, because this is a better TV movie than that.
Yeah.
And probably you would agree too. Yeah.
All right. So, my choice, I'm not sure what the title of it is.
Yeah. But you thought it was.
I thought it was Boltneck. That's how I came across it on some list. But Googling to try and find it, there was no such movie that I could see. The one I think I found, the name of it was Teen Monster.
Yeah.
Which was one of, I guess there was another title as
yeah,
well.
Big Monster on Campus.
Yeah, okay. So I wonder, I should have done some research on why there are 3 names.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
I'm kind of curious myself. I don't know. Which of the 3 titles do you like the most?
I'll go with Boltneck.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds the best.
Yeah. There shouldn't be other titles other than Boltneck.
Yeah, the other ones are a bit generic.
Yeah.
It follows a character played by Matthew Lawrence.
Oh yeah, I like Matthew Lawrence actually. It was interesting to see him play like somebody who was like supposed to be smart, basically. Like, because most of the time he tends to just play like handsome characters.
Yeah, and he was in Boy Meets World. He was Sean's brother, which I just finished binge watching that.
Yeah,
so I saw him in that a lot. I was like, oh, there he is again.
Yeah.
He was also in Money Plane, which we watched a little while ago. Or did we watch this? Did we watch, or did I just watch it?
What was it? Money Plane? I don't think I saw it. What is that?
I don't know if it was on this podcast or not.
Oh, okay.
Was it not?
No, I know Red Letter Media did it.
I I watched it.
You watched that?
I did watch that one. Yeah,
okay.
He was in that. It was dumb as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Matthew Lawrence though. Like, just generally, like, even if he's in a shitty movie, I still like him. Like, maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to have a crush on him. Maybe, but I mean,
yeah. In Money Plane, he played, because it was actually made by like the Lawrence brothers. Like Joey Lawrence was in it. He was like the main bad guy.
Yeah, I remember Joey Lawrence as well.
And Matthew played a fucking like Texan with a big old cowboy hat, fake mustache, like immediately lost a round of Russian roulette.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Like, let's play some Russian roulette. Bam! instant loss.
Gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he plays this character named Frankensteins. and he's like a nerdy science guy, I guess.
He's supposed to be a nerdy science guy.
Yeah,
he's not really very nerdy.
Yeah, no, he's like.
In fact, if anything, he's actually probably the most handsome-looking kid in the entire school.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think the reason he's getting picked on so much is because everybody's jealous of him.
Right.
Like, I don't think they actually think he's a nerd. I think they're just like, you pretty little idiot. Like, you know, like one of those stupid, sexy Flanders trope things. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Is it kind of, I guess it's like a retelling of Frankenstein then?
The first half sort of is.
The first half, yeah. It, yeah, the first half is, yeah, a retelling of Frankenstein. The second half is Van Wilder. Zombie Van Wilder.
Yeah, basically. It turns out this wasn't a horror movie.
No, not in the least. So he starts off by experimenting on dead rats to bring them back to life like Frankenstein would.
Yeah.
And he's successful. They show some school life. They're in high school, juniors in high school, I guess. There's 2 bully jock, cool dudes.
Cool.
The Lance,
yeah,
he's with the in front of it, and he speaks in third person a bunch. Right. And Tuttle was the other one's name. And Ryan Reynolds, he's in this movie.
Yeah, he's played some mopey fellow with hair on his like over his head, over his face.
He plays like an emo goth type kid.
Yeah.
For a scene.
Oh yeah, and Matthew Lawrence, he also has a best friend who kind of disappears from the movie actually. So I guess never mind.
Yeah, he does.
Like I know he was in like the early scenes at the beginning.
Yeah, he was. And they tried to get into a party together. And, and one of the jocks like
immediately booted him.
He like pulled down his pants and said, "Pinch me, come on, pinch me, pinch me." So Matthew Lawrence does, and he says, "Oh no, I'm not dreaming. It must be you."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, bird!"
Which is like probably the funniest part of the movie.
He's like, "Oh, you got him, got him." Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, you must be dreaming. You're not coming to the party."
Yeah. And so then that's kind of when the best friend character just vanishes.
Yeah. He just goes away.
Yeah. He's like, "All right, see ya."
And I think it had a lot to do with he somehow got into the party, but his friend didn't.
Okay.
It seemed like that was...
I must have missed that.
Something like that happened.
Yeah.
And they were at the party.
Right.
And Ryan Reynolds shows up.
Yeah.
But gets his ass beat by the 2 jocks.
Yeah.
And they somehow accidentally kill him.
Yeah, they knock him into a pool that doesn't have water in it.
Yeah, they push him into a pool that they thought was filled, but it wasn't.
Which you have to be a really like special kind of idiot to somehow kill somebody that way, or to even die that way. To be honest, like it has to be the work of 3 people with just the wrong IQ combination interacting with each other.
Yeah,
because that's a really dumb way to die. You know, and people have died that way before, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm always surprised. It's like, whoa, you know, like people can actually die that way.
People die just like tripping over a curb.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So I guess like Matthew Lawrence was hiding around the party. I don't know if he got in it, but he was hiding around it and saw the 2 dudes trying to dispose of the body.
Yeah.
So he goes up and starts saying, "Hey,
oh yeah,
I can help."
Yeah. Oh, and it was right after they actually ended up having a really, actually very peaceful, you know, pleasant interaction with a police officer.
Oh,
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Don't see that very often.
The officer came up and was like, "What's with your friend?" As he was dead, and he's like, "I don't know, drunk or whatever."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, he had a little too much to drink or something."
The police officer's like, "Well, I respect you, you know, being the DDs, the designated drivers, you know." So he let him go off just because he thought the other dude was passed out drunk and they were the DDs.
Yeah.
And then, which was fucking stupid.
It is stupid. But oh well. Anyway, so yeah, Matthew Lawrence, he finds them.
He finds them and says he can help. He resurrected a mouse, and I think I can do it on a human too. But there's too much brain damage for what's his name, Clark?
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds' characters, I guess, because at first I didn't realize why he needed a new brain.
Right. They
didn't really say that until a little later, where he said, "Oh, his brain's too damaged to whatever." And there was this nice little gag when they were putting him on the table too. Where Ryan, like, I noticed it immediately. Ryan Reynolds' like dead body was just flipping the camera off, and I thought it was just gonna stay like that and they wouldn't mention it, but Matthew Lawrence like tries to put it down and it just keeps popping up like rigor mortis or whatever, and just keeps flipping them off.
That's yeah. No, that was. I did notice that actually. That was That's funny.
And so Matthew Lawrence's dad is some type of brain scientist.
Yeah.
He's studying the differences between good brains and bad brain, like bad guy brains and good guy brains.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, I know where to get a brain. So he sneaks into his dad's facility.
Right.
And there are 2 jars that, of course, the labels are facing the camera and not to the characters.
Yeah.
One was fucking Grovar, and like I guess it was Sublime was the emotion or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it. And then the other one was Dobbs, which was titled Aggressive. And of course he takes the aggressive one.
Yeah.
And he plants it in Ryan Reynolds'
head. Yeah. And so yeah, you could pretty much see
where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, so far, basically Frankenstein.
Yep. And I thought the little them resurrecting him was kind of funny too. They were at the school, and there wasn't I laughed at there wasn't they were having trouble like getting the antenna wired down to the lab. And they're just a bunch of like masturbation innuendos.
Yeah,
like straight up is like, oh, it's not. It wasn't fitting. It wasn't long enough, and like implied for a little dick. And the guy was like, stretch it out. You do it all the time. And then the guy on the roof literally put the wire like between his legs and started doing like a jack off motion. And that worked, I guess. It gave him enough slack to plug Ryan Reynolds in.
Yeah, this movie was weird because it kind of. For the most part, it was a pretty clean movie, but then it would randomly throw in like a relatively raunchy like sex joke. Like it had the guy showing his ass. It had like that part during the party where they were like dry humping each other. It had like the gag that you just mentioned. There was like some innuendo that happened later. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's occasionally the movie decided to be a little edgy, It was like, okay.
Yeah. And then I wrote down here too, like, I mean, just the whole plot of like, why would one dead brain work and not the other?
Yeah.
But they kind of summed it up a little later down, saying that Clark's brain was too damaged.
Yeah.
But it also was like, well, you're not technically resurrecting him then, are they not thinking about that? It's gonna be that guy's brain, not Clark, right?
Right.
So
yeah, that's exactly what it ends up being.
And that's what it was. Yeah. And like it was on the news.
Yeah.
Jack or Frank, fucking Matthew Lawrence. He sees it on the news and notices it was the brain he stole. Yeah. Because it was like associated with his dad's work or whatever.
Yeah.
And he confronts Ryan Reynolds because he's acting different, acting a little cool. He's acting like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like after the brain transplant, he starts acting like a violent Ryan Reynolds character that you would expect from National Lampoons or any other.
Yeah. Yeah. That, which is of course like, that was sort of the unexpected turn, I guess, that this movie took, was like from going from Frankenstein to, like you said, Van Wilder. I mean, because at the beginning, he's like, that kind of personality to, like later on. So
total switch, and he calls him out too, like the killer or whatever the fuck he was realizes that he's in a different brain and is trying to play Clark, but then after Matthew fucking sees the news, he like calls him out. He's like, you're Dobbs. He's like, yeah, just let's keep this between us because you're fucked as much as I am, or whatever, like just blackmails him kind of thing. And so
and also doesn't Matthew Lawrence's character have a love interest too?
There's this chick, I don't know what her name was. knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is, and so he fucking Van Wilder helps him get her.
Yeah, which was probably like the most helpful thing he ended up doing.
Yeah. Oh, and that is also one thing where I noticed that why his buddy vanished was because after Matthew Lawrence helped him, the jocks and Matthew Lawrence were buddies.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
still
right.
treated his other friend like shit.
That was right. Okay, I forgot about that. He shows up and was like, "What? We used to be pals or whatever," and then that's it.
Yeah,
like,
and he kind of not anymore.
Yeah.
So Frankenstein was kind of a douche to his OG friend.
Yeah.
Because he kind of rolled with it. He's like, oh no, I'm kind of popular now.
Yeah.
At least gave off that air, even though it may have just been, I'm kind of deep into some shit here. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because honestly, like the only reason he had achieved any kind of popularity is because he helped those two jocks. Yeah, and that's it.
Popular dudes.
Yeah. Let's see.
And then so it's taking place around Halloween. Yeah. There's a homecoming dance.
Yeah. You gotta have one of those in one of these movies.
You know, Mr. Ryan Reynolds does his nice charming act.
Yeah, like the cool guy.
He puts it on the chick because he Frank says like, oh yeah, that's the girl I like. I have a crush on her. And then Ryan Reynolds wingmans him. Yeah, gets him a ticket, but also steals the money.
Oh yeah, from the whole homecoming.
All the ticket money for the homecoming dance he mugs. And, and he says, "Oh yeah, Frank here. Frank, he's throwing a party. You should come."
Yeah. Oh yeah, wasn't there like a homecoming king and queen too? Or was that prom?
It was There was homecoming.
Oh yeah, it's not prom. Duh,
was that
Halloween.
Before or after the party?
I think it was after. Oh wait,
it would have to be before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Lance.
Yeah.
There was a popular bimbo with big boobs.
Right.
That everyone was just like all the other girls were like, oh, she's only popular because of her big old boobs. Which it wasn't Lance's girlfriend. Lance just had a regular regular blonde bimbo type character girlfriend. And the other jock, Tuttle, he had the hot one, like, which because it was the Lance was like the main, the main jock, and you know how there's the main jock and then the sidekick.
Yeah.
So the sidekick actually had the hotter girlfriend, and so the Lance and the hotter girlfriend won the homecoming thing.
Yeah.
And they started making out under the bleachers.
And so that creates an issue that of course, Ryan Reynolds' character exploits.
Yep, he shows the Lance's girlfriend him cheating on her with the hot chick.
And it's like, oh no!
Yeah, she gets super pissed and everything. And
and Ryan Reynolds is like, ooh, I'm a lucky man.
Yeah, I'm the best.
Yeah.
There was that bathroom scene too where they were like drinking in the bathroom. And Tuttle didn't give a fuck at all.
No.
He was like, yeah, I was with her. He's like, yeah, she was good, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I made it with her.
Which is like
they're fine with sharing her,
cool.
I guess. They must be real good friends.
Moving on, I suppose. I mean, as weird as that is.
Everyone uses her, I guess. I don't know.
In this world.
Yeah. And she gets pissed at the Lance.
Yeah.
Because they were, they drive to a makeout spot, Ryan Reynolds and his girlfriend, and they're all cuddly and shit.
Yeah.
And the Lance shows up. Ryan Reynolds beats the shit out of both of them.
Right. Which is to be expected, I suppose.
Yeah. And takes his girlfriend off somewhere.
Yeah.
With the implication eventually that he killed her. Was the implication.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to imply.
Because they don't come out and say it.
No.
She runs off or something. Like he's a little too forward.
Yeah.
She walks away. And then, I don't know. They don't resolve that in the scene or anything.
No.
But that chick's character is gone for the rest of the movie, basically.
Yeah.
And
did she show up again? I mean,
okay.
She
did.
Okay.
Yeah, she did. Oh yeah,
okay.
She did.
Okay.
You'll remember.
All right. Yeah. So, once you mention it.
So eventually, he doesn't deny it. Like he's not, and he kind of even says to Jack that he kind of like subtextually says that I killed her.
Oh, okay, I remember.
He subtextually says that, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because she comes back with huge old boobs. That's why she was missing. She got a boob job.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely. All right. I remember that now. I got confused because I thought I was confusing her with another character.
Like that's the main love. But interest.
Well, I mean, there was so. I mean, the way the film it ended really fast.
Yeah, it did.
And so it was hard for me to like kind of make sense of like, I don't know, like. By the end, I sort of lost track of like the overall through line, I think, because once his dad, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of. Well, okay, you can go ahead.
So actually, one thing I wanted to mention too is when they come to confront Ryan Reynolds when they drive up.
Yeah.
He punches the shit out of the Lance, and then the Tuttle gets out of the car and like says, "You want a piece of this?" And he just starts head banging his car.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud.
That was so strange. That was
fucking dumb as hell. He just started headbutting his car.
Yeah. I mean, both the jock characters were really, really dumb. Like basically everything they said and did was dumb.
Yeah, but I liked them though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were hilarious.
Really well.
Yeah. The stereotypical sort of jockheads who very exaggerated, like meat-headed idiots who basically just like they would get confused by even the simplest thing. So, and I actually thought some of the funniest parts were sort of the interactions between them and Ryan Reynolds, mainly because Ryan Reynolds was just kind of like outsmarting them.
Yeah,
for the most part.
It wasn't be hard to do either.
Yeah.
What do you think? And then I guess that's
so the dad. So basically, the dad character, Matthew Lawrence's dad. So basically, eventually, Matthew Lawrence ends up kind of coming clean.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which, again, that was kind of a nice sort of twist, is that he ended up sort of teaming up with his dad. I like that.
Yeah. He comes clean, teams up with his dad. Because they so what they did was, like, when they stole the brain, they replaced it with Carl's brain.
Yeah.
The messed up brain, and his dad just thought his coworker dropped it or something.
Yeah.
And then eventually his dad fixes the brain damaged one. He fixes it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess he's a brain genius.
And then somehow fucking I don't get, because I maybe missed a little bit or something, but like there was another Halloween party. I don't remember who was throwing it this time, but they had like a. Do you know who was throwing it? Or
I missed it. I did. To be honest, I forgot that it was even a Halloween party. I knew they were costumes, but like
party, yeah. The other one was I guess Homecoming or just.
Was it Ryan Reynolds? He threw it at his house. Because his dad came out at one point too. In the Grim Reaper costume.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, and there was that scene too, that which kind of showed why Carl, not Ryan Reynolds. I'll call the nerd Carl and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
There was a scene in where Ryan Reynolds confronts his dad.
Yeah.
Because I guess his dad was a piece of shit, which makes sense why Carl is the loner, emo, kind of depressed looking dude.
Yeah, because he was kind of getting pushed around.
Yeah, and like Child Protective Services was there, and then his dad like slapped him. Yeah, like right after that officer or something left.
I remember that.
And then Ryan Reynolds just fucking knocked him out basically and said, "And if you try any more shit, I'm calling the Child Protective Services and suing you and getting you locked up." And
that was epic.
Yeah,
I was into that.
And his dad eventually, his dad shows up at the party as a fucking Grim Reaper or whatever.
Right. Which, all right, cool.
I guess he's scared of his own son now.
Yeah. Good enough.
Yeah. And so there was a prop, not really a prop guillotine because it was cutting up watermelon for the party and shit.
It was definitely a real guillotine.
Yeah, it was a Halloween themed party, I guess, for this one. The other one was just a party, I think.
Yeah.
But so there was this Halloween party.
Yeah.
They're all there.
pretty much all everybody in this movie does is party. Like they don't go to school really. I mean, there are school scenes, but most of the movie is just them partying and going to dances, and that's about it. That's why it's confusing.
That's why I like called the second half like National Lampoon's Frankenstein or something.
Yeah,
it was just fucking.
That's about it. Yeah, like picture National Lampoon, picture it being like tame, like with a movie that doesn't have boobs flying around every 5 minutes, and like basically sort of the National Lampoon formula of like the idiot jocks, the stereotypical teens, and the sex jokes and all that stuff, and you kind of have this with the Frankenstein plot, which is
Yep. And then so they're gonna,
and Matthew Lawrence,
they're gonna, I forget how did they get the Psycho on board with it to cut his. So what happens is at this party, Matthew Lawrence, I was confused, like he puts up Ryan Reynolds into the guillotine.
It was a huge stretch.
Like I was like, why? Everyone I guess thought it was a magic trick is what my assumption was.
I mean
because there was just a throwaway line at the very end. It was like, oh, how did you do that, kind of, or I know how you did it. It was like, because
it was like the reverse psychology type of thing.
But I don't remember how they got the killer or the bad guy brain to go along with it.
He got knocked out in the basement,
right?
Remember,
and then
he like came to confront him and knocked him out with something, I think, because he was tied up on the guillotine.
Okay, I don't remember that. I just remember he was on the guillotine in front of a bunch of people.
I mean, that's the thing. Everything kind of the movie wraps itself up so fast. Like I can understand why you would miss that. Because it's like it's not even really memorable
at the end.
And
I blinked. So I blinked, missed how, but eventually Ryan Reynolds is on the guillotine. And Matthew Lawrence chops his head off. Frankie Stein chops his head off. And everyone in the party, I guess, just assumes, because I wrote that down. Like, how did they get away with
murdering
in front of all these people? But just one throwaway line at the very end was like, "Oh, that was a cool trick you did at the party."
And so I guess people think Matthew Lawrence is some kind of magician. I guess that's the way the movie ends.
And he works with his dad to reimplant Carl's brain.
Oh yeah.
Because he fixed the brain, they reimplant it and resuscitate or revive Carl.
And then Ryan Reynolds goes back to being Edward
Dobbs.
I was naming the character from Twilight, but then I couldn't remember his last name.
I think that was Cullen.
Anyway, that's about it, I guess. I mean,
it's kind of fucking stupid.
There's not really. It's pretty dumb, to be honest. I mean, I didn't mind it at first. Like the early scenes were promising. It's like, ooh, okay, this could lead to some quirky, fun stuff. But then it kind of just turns into another sort of teen movie about like the nerd overcoming the obstacles, and I don't know, just and also like Ryan Reynolds, like he was in it a decent chunk, but I feel like maybe I don't know, there wasn't really much that he did. Ultimately, he just kind of played like another Ryan Reynolds character.
My favorite part was Ryan Reynolds.
No, that was my favorite part of it too. But this is we've already seen Ryan Reynolds kind of do this sort of thing a few times now, so maybe
not even just a few. Like, everything. This is like, if you know Ryan Reynolds' shtick. Which I don't mind his shtick.
I don't mind it either. If you've never seen a Ryan Reynolds movie, then maybe this would be an okay one to start with. Maybe. I mean, it's definitely not anywhere near, like, it's definitely one of his worst, but he still like does the Ryan Reynolds thing in it. So
I mean, I guess why not start off? It's definitely I'd probably say Van Wilder maybe, but like
Yeah. This is definitely not even as good as Van Wilder, though.
No, it's definitely not as good as the movies.
And which is saying a lot, because Van Wilder's like not good, but this was like really not good.
Yeah.
So.
And then, of course, there was a fucking rom-com. Will they, won't they? Stupid shit, because the girl Matthew Lawrence is crushing on gets in trouble for money missing, which Ryan Reynolds stole.
Yeah. And so they got to introduce some conflict in there.
So there's that, but at the end, somehow the money, I don't know if did they see.
Yeah, it gets returned. I think Ryan Reynolds, like, I don't know, somehow the money got returned. I don't even know. Like,
I found it in my desk.
Yeah, like there was like one line and that's it. Yeah. That's kind of how most of the plot lines in this movie got resolved. It's like, is somebody just kind of says a line. It's like, okay, covered. Plot holes covered. Yeah, very lazy script, pretty much. Yeah. Not really anything else to say.
Nope. No. I have one line. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Okay, one last line I liked that made me laugh out loud was, again, at that fight.
Yeah.
When Ryan Reynolds punches Tuttle, he's like, "Oh, you broke my nose! You broke my nose!"
Yeah.
And then one of the girls says, "You should get that looked at, man." And then he just turns to just some random chick and he says, "Hey, my nose is broken." And the girl just says, "I meant a doctor."
That's pretty
fucking dumb.
It's like, wow. Lowbrow. Yeah. I mean, no, it felt like
switcheroo.
It felt like just a
like, oh, you gotta get that checked out. Hey, my nose is broken.
It felt like this movie could have been edited for TV into like a Fox family movie or an ABC family movie. Like,
yeah, I thought it felt like a Disney Channel original movies for more mature audiences.
Yeah, well, like if you took out the guillotine stuff and the swear words and the sex jokes, and there's not that much in here. If you took all that out, you'd have pretty generic, safe for family viewing movie with Ryan Reynolds acting like a prick.
I wouldn't like it as much.
I wouldn't like it as much either.
No.
Because like I don't know.
Even with the little it had, it needed it.
Yeah. I guess if you're a big fan of Matthew Lawrence, I guess maybe that's a reason to watch it. Either Ryan Reynolds or him, there wasn't really much else. I don't know. I wouldn't watch it again.
No.
So I'd probably give it a 1.
Oh, really? I like the Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, the Ryan Reynolds was good. I guess it just wasn't enough for me.
I liked it enough to give it a 2, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave it a 2 as well.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to give it a 2, but I don't know. I don't like. The thing is, Ryan Reynolds, like, he was enjoyable, but I don't even really remember most of what he did. Like,
so. He did the Ryan Reynolds thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's about it.
Also about Ryan Reynolds, like, how old was that serial killer that he was trying to fuck high school chicks?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he kind of mentioned it or something too. I want to say, like, all these young, fresh.
I remember he mentioned some kind. He had like a Matthew McConaughey type of line in there about like teenage girls or
something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, he's also. I do wish he kind of played up the bad guy more, like. But he was more just Ryan Reynolds. I wish he was a little more psycho, bad guy type stuff. But no, he was just kind of being a douchey high schooler.
Yeah, I thought it would have been cooler if he actually killed people.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen based on the description I read.
Me too. But
he did steal a lot. I did notice he like mugged some guy, some random dude at the prom or homecoming. He just took his wallet.
Yeah.
He took his wallet, took out some money, and like one of the other kids saw, and he just did a little Ryan Reynolds like, shh, handed him a 20 or handed him $1 to keep him quiet.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, all right. So he stole some things. So that's pretty bad,
I mean, I guess that was the extent to this Dobbs character.
Pretty much. He did try to like assault that one girl, but like then she's like, back off, and then he did. Like, it's like, oh, okay, well.
No means no. I respect that.
Yeah, he's. Yeah.
He didn't kill her.
Yeah, at least he's polite.
Maybe he even funded her boob job. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's actually the nicest character in the whole movie, and we don't know it.
He helped the dude get his girl.
Yeah,
he threw a wicked party for Matthew Lawrence.
Yeah, it is kind of sketchy that he knows so much about teenage girls, but
yeah.
Oh well, I guess.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds. He did mention like I have to live with this new body now. So this is what I gotta do.
Yeah, moving on. So. But then he went back to being how he was before, and so, yeah.
I think he was a little cooler though, at the end.
Yeah.
He wore a bandana over his scar at the very end instead of.
That's true. Yeah. So in a way, maybe the character experienced some growth, like somehow.
Oh, that's
because he was sort of like split personality, right? Almost.
Ryan Reynolds was.
Well, I mean, that's the vibe I thought they were going for at first, and then kind of didn't happen.
I didn't think it would because they took the whole brain.
Yeah,
like I thought maybe like, sometimes you have those movies where they just have a hand.
Yeah,
and that's more split personality. This was just straight up him being
the bad guy.
Bad guy in a nerd's body.
Yeah,
but that reminds me that's how the girl freaked out. Yeah. It was because he was wearing a hat the whole time to hide the scar.
That's right.
And she took it off while they were making out, and she freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
she thought it was like some kind of sexual thing, like she was into that, or that Ryan Reynolds was into the fucking body morphification.
Yeah.
Shit that.
Yeah, she thought he was a B-modder, but. Yeah. Turns out, no, he's just a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah. That's why she freaked out.
Yeah.
Not because he was getting too rapey, which he was, but...
Yeah, but she didn't seem to care.
Yeah, no.
It's like, oh, okay.
Not until she saw his scars.
Yeah, that's when she was like, no,
bitch.
This isn't working.
That totally makes sense, because she got a boob job, so she's just a superficial bitch.
I guess so, yeah. So now all the pieces fit together. We solved the puzzle of
5
Boltneck. Yep, 5-star puzzle, 1-star movie. Well, for me anyway. 2 stars for you guys.
We just had to think on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it did take some effort,
So you rate it the same as you would Mazes and Monsters?
Well, I like this more than Mazes and Monsters. I will say that. So maybe I'd give it a 1.5 or a 2. Yeah, I mean, we just solved the puzzle. I do appreciate movies that require a little bit more thought from me, and this movie, it did. I wasn't really thinking about it much when I was watching it, I will admit, but in hindsight, okay, all right. So they put a little thought into the script, Not enough for me to really care, but I still appreciate the effort. Yeah. Recommended for fans and folks.
Ryan Reynolds fans, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds fans.
If you're a fan of Ryan Reynolds, I'd definitely say check it out.
Yeah, go for it. If you like movies that aren't Halloween movies, but at the same time are, then there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Speaking of Halloween, that brings us to our third movie.
Yeah.
All right.
So my pick was Gravy.
Yes. And
what?
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to say why it's called Gravy? But nah, you can wait. You can. Yeah, that would spoil it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's kind of.
Yeah. Was there gravy in it? Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, anyway, go on.
Yeah, I'm reading this off Wikipedia, by the way, for everyone listening.
Yeah. Go for it.
It's All Hallows Eve. Anson, played by Michael Weston, who, to me, it seemed like he was trying to emulate Charlie Day.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
He definitely was.
Like this whole movie, I was wondering, is this like a Always Sunny? Because fucking the McBoyle twin was in it.
Yeah.
I thought like, was this like some type of spin-off of a It's Always Sunny episode?
Well,
that they didn't...
There were some of the psych folks, I think, were kind of going for that. Because this is from some of them, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like they were kind of going for almost an It's Always Sunny vibe.
Yeah, because the cat girl too was also like that. Friggin' one of the sister McBoyle. Or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like a little more articulate.
Right.
But I think there was a Halloween episode where she dressed up as a cat and she like pretends to be a cat or something. I think in episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely felt very It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Yes, that Anson like Manson.
Yeah.
Definitely that actor looks like Charlie Day.
Yeah.
And acted a shit ton like him, except smarter.
Yeah.
A smart version of Charlie Day.
Yeah. Like smart enough to play a villain.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he turned down the role.
Maybe. I've seen him in. I've seen that actor in other things. That I've seen him in like some. I mean, mostly a lot of TV, but I know I've seen him in like some other movies and stuff.
He's in fucking the robot movie.
Yeah. Whatever that was called.
I did not like it.
Yeah. What the heck?
Pacific Rim.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I was thinking Atlantic. Because there's a movie called Atlantic Rim, which is worse. Don't watch it. But I kept on thinking it was called Atlantic something, but then you said Pacific Rim, so it's like, oh yes, okay. But anyway, so yeah, go on with the plot.
Yeah, so Anson enters a convenience store where he buys sorbet and flirts with the cashier Bethany Lynn Goolsby from Haddonfield.
Yes, which is a clever little, reference.
What was a reference?
Haddonfield, yeah, wasn't that like
Halloween?
Yeah, there you go.
And I thought that scene was like pretty. Was it improv?
It felt like improv.
It felt real improv-y with.
It was super awkward too.
Yeah, super awkward, kind of cringy between. Like it was just like between him and Sarah Silverman. I could tell that.
It was weird,
going off the top of their hat or like head.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't.
Because the rest of the movie definitely wasn't improv.
No.
But that scene felt like super improv.
Yeah, it did.
Not good improv either.
I mean, if it was written, it was barely written.
Yeah.
So yeah, that not a good opening. I will admit that was a weak way to start the movie. But then what happens?
Nearby, the employees of a Mexican cantina and bar. Waitress Cricket, bartender Carrie, cook Yannick, busboy Hector, manager Chewy, and security guard Winketta.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that while watching her name.
Okay.
They called her Roz as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
sort
right.
of her nickname.
And I was also confused as to if she was a security guard or was that her costume.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
I didn't get it because like everyone was in costume. So I assumed she was in costume, but she also acted like she wasn't though. She had a name tag, but I was also like, why would a small little restaurant need a security guard?
Yeah, well, that's it's weird. It's a weird cast. I'm not quite sure exactly like what her character. I mean, because I thought the same thing. As soon as I saw her, it's like, okay, so why? Okay, so it's her Halloween costume. But then she started, like you said, talking like she was a security guard and swinging around her billy club and all that stuff. And I'm like,
yeah, and
all right,
maybe make her a bouncer.
Yeah, maybe bouncer, but security guard at a bar. Like,
maybe she was the bouncer, but her costume was security. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's believable.
That's
it's a good choice for her.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
Creative on it. Yeah. That makes sense. Let's do with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
They're there closing up the cantina to have a small party celebrating Carrie, who is leaving to become a paramedic.
Right.
As the party wraps, the employees discover the doors have been welded shut and the phone lines are cut.
Yeah. Okay, so can I just say, like, this took forever. Like, am I wrong? But, like, it took a long time for them to actually, like, figure out that they were trapped.
Yeah.
And it was sort of weird because...
introducing all the characters.
Yeah. I liked that. But I was... Oh, yeah.
They found out that the door was welded, or at least stuck, and they're just like, oh, whatever, it's stuck. Something's behind it. I'm not gonna go check it out right now, but.
Well, I guess like my feeling is that if a door is stuck and not opening, there's probably a reason why, and And while it makes sense to maybe write it off if you're in the middle of something, to kind of like to have that kind of sort of happen consistently throughout the night where people like can't escape, it just seems like, I don't know, for me, like if I were in a situation like that, like it just seemed weird to me because they were mostly just standing around talking and not really seeming to worry much about the fact that they couldn't leave. And then eventually they started worrying about it, but it just, I don't know, it felt kind of delayed. And it was just, I don't know, it was weirded me out. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
Especially in like a kitchen where something could catch fire or something.
Yeah, you need to have an emergency, and I mean, at least the windows. I don't know.
Yeah. Anson, his brother Steph, which is the McPoyle brother, and Steph's girlfriend Mimi, appear and quickly take the employees hostage.
Yeah.
Tying them to chairs.
Yeah. Kind of like what you mentioned, like on the episode, you sort of said that it sounded kind of like Murder Party,
Yeah.
So it's sort of almost like a Murder Party type of situation.
Yep.
Oh, and they were making out like, but when they were like, because they were shutting down the bar, it was closing time was when this took place. It's like the McBoyle twin and the cat girl were making out in the corner forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they're fucking at one point too.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Yeah, I mean that's at first it kind of makes you think that they are, So it's like, whoa.
Oh, and another Sunny was the girl's name was Cricket.
Oh yeah.
And there's a character, like a completely different character named Cricket, Rickety Cricket.
Yeah,
Sunny,
which is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Apparently uninterested in money, their true intentions soon become cleared. They are sadists and cannibals who plan to torture and eat the various employees.
Mm-hmm. 3 of them.
Yep. I think the first thing that happens is the cat girl takes a bite out of Roz, right?
Yeah.
Her neck, rips her voice box out because she kept sassing him.
Yeah. Which I thought she was actually I actually liked her character the most up until that point,
Yeah.
And then when she couldn't talk anymore, she kind of didn't really do anything else,
Yeah.
Kind of just sat in the chair and died. That's
she was
the
given
rest of the movie.
Cause she was also studying to get her GED or whatever.
Yeah.
She was giving shit to the chef.
Yeah.
You thought it was an actual fight, but no, it was the chef helping her study.
Yeah. Which, that's cool.
Smart ass.
Yeah. The chef character is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's an interesting actor he's this French Canadian actor who I've seen but he's mostly known for the stage, I think, but it's interesting to kind of see like actual good actors in a movie like this,
Yeah.
Because Gabori Sidibe, who played the Ross, like she's a really good actor too. And it's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, I liked her. I forget what she was in that I've seen that I liked her in, but
yeah, I know she's like most well known because she was nominated for her role in Perfume, or not Perfume, Precious. Yeah,
I didn't see that.
yeah. She was good in that, but she's done some other good work too.
I know she was in American Horror Story Coven.
Yeah.
But that was a shitty season. So
Yeah.
it didn't really give her much.
I think the only other thing I've seen her in was Tower Heist.
Oh yeah, she was in that one.
That like Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
It's like Eddie Murphy or somebody.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so yeah. Okay, so she bites her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and blood splatters on Cricket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that little running gag. She just keeps getting covered in blood.
Yeah. By the end of the movie, it actually was pretty funny. Like,
yeah.
And I think the next person was the manager. He's like, let everybody go.
yeah.
And they're like, yeah, if I can get this Tangelo off your head blindfolded.
Oh yeah, he does
sure,
the William
everyone
Tell
can
thing.
leave. And shoots him right in the mouth through the back of the head.
Kills him. I mean,
yeah, and they had because they deduced, everyone deduced, because like what I also kind of, this gave me kind of the Green Room vibes.
Yeah.
Because everyone was actually playing their roles pretty smart.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like your typical kind of horror where the bad guys are inept or something like that, or the good guys are inept, but like they quickly pieced together that they locked themselves all in.
Yeah.
So how is there going to be a quick getaway if they do want to just rob them?
Right.
And then that's when they're like, "Oh, you're just going to kill us."
Yeah, basically.
And then the bad guys are like, "Well, this old man, he's obviously loyal. You all love him. He's gonna be trouble if we let him live." So they just fucking kill him.
Yeah,
which is also smart on the bad guys. Like that's why I got a little, not like it wasn't serious like the Green Room. It had a bunch of goofy shit, but like the way they played the bad guys out was kind of, you know, intelligent bad guys.
Yeah, the bad guys, they at first they were making a lot of smart decisions, you know, and like you said, like when they took out like the sort of, I guess, owner, who was kind of up to that point sort of intended, like you kind of get the impression he's kind of gonna be like their ringleader, like the ringleader for the good guys, who, you know, may end up actually being the most useful. You never know, but yeah, they end up killing him pretty much immediately. So, but we're still left with a bunch of characters who, you know, could still, you know, potentially take these guys down. So, which is interesting. It's not often you see like three people somehow manage to kidnap a large group of people. You don't see that in movies very often. So.
Yeah, I was like when they first tied up the, you know, Roz and Cricket, I was just like, oh, how are they going to get all those other people in?
Yeah.
And then they just kind of cut to them being tied up. They didn't. They heard, like, they did like a shot of just the hallway for a while, and then commotion, and then like cut, like a drawback of just them all being tied up already.
Yeah, which I guess they just are really people.
Yep.
Yeah. So then what happened?
Seth soon chains up Yannick in the kitchen to cook the various employees as they're dispatched in different sick and sadistic games. And by sick and sadistic games, they mean 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So they're like sort of doing trivia and quizzing them, you know, sort of testing their intelligence and knowledge about
I liked
movies.
that little 6 degrees scene too.
Yeah, that was clever.
That's when because I liked Cricket a lot after that.
I did too.
Because you come out thinking, like, because she's like in the first, she's like, you know, out smoking a cig, being all bimbo-y, like, like, oh, my tits are popping out, nice, it's so cold, and shit like that, and then like she starts whipping out movie knowledge out of
it. I appreciated that. Yeah, it was cool.
She had the best character growth, I think, in the film.
Yeah, definitely. At the end, she ended up being the only character I really cared to see live.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, and then after the trio eat Chewy, Carrie pretends to be romantically interested in Anson to gain his trust and comes onto him while retrieving a list of items from the pantry for Yannick to cook with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
because she won the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So she got freedom to walk around and shit.
Okay.
And basically just help them do shit.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's kind of when that's kind of when the intelligence of the bad guys sort of started to fall apart a little bit, because it really, I mean, if you're kidnapping a bunch of people, like why would you untie them? Like if you're planning on eating them, they're gonna want to survive.
I guess they figured they can't go anywhere. I don't know.
I guess.
Maybe they wanted the challenge.
I mean, but she's still like, maybe, but oh man, I don't know. That's yeah. Anyway, so go on.
However, while eating Roz's corpse, Steph starts to experience anaphylactic shock and realizes Yannick has snuck basil into his food, which he had forbid earlier as he is highly allergic.
Right, which his mistake was telling the guy to not put basil in it in the first place, because like who's to say he would have even bothered trying to put basil in any of this food? I mean, if he's cooking meat.
And I think,
chef.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think at that point he told him to make chili too. So
right, which
I don't know if that usually goes in chili or not, but
I mean, I don't know, but I think he put way too much trust into the cook, into the chef to not put basil in. I mean, yeah.
Examining the list of items, he realizes that Yannick used the army of Portugal cipher to tell Carrie to bring him basil.
Yeah.
Well, Steph and Yannick start fighting each other. In the other room, Hector has managed to free himself and Cricket, which was a funny scene.
Yeah, that was good.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because so Cricket is the girl, party girl.
Right.
So she has some coke stuffed in her panties.
Yeah.
With a razor, to cut coke.
Yeah.
So I don't know, one of the workers, one of the like sous chefs or whatever they call them, I don't know, line cooks. That was after. So there is another character too, a drunk guy.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot. He doesn't do much throughout most of the movie. He kind of just spends the whole movie passed out and then wakes up occasionally, like bitches and complains, and then passes out.
He's passed out, and then he's like randomly just comes downstairs and just starts yelling, like and then just runs around the restaurant yelling.
Yeah,
while everyone's just standing there watching him run around.
Right.
But yeah, the Manny guy, or that was his name, right?
I think so. Yeah.
It looks like he's like eating her out while she's chasing down that guy.
Yeah. So her name was Cricket.
Yeah.
Okay, I was getting her confused with the other girl. Okay, so all right, that makes sense. All right, anyway, go on.
Yeah. So it was a little funny line, like, your last meal. He looked like he was eating her out, but he was getting the razor.
Yeah. So then the razor ends up actually being useful. So
yep, they Anson and Hector square off upstairs while Cricket and Carrie fight Mimi.
Yeah.
Back in the kitchen after a long battle with both parties sustaining horrible wounds. Yeah. And then Cricket gets killed in that.
Somehow we don't really get to see how.
She
doesn't she like wind up in a fish tank?
Yeah. She was like, "Can we do this without blood?"
Oh,
right.
Okay.
That was it. Because I know at one point she got scalped.
Yeah, in that fight she got scalped.
Yeah, and then fish tank. Yeah. So all right. Yeah,
and then Anson and Hector, while they were fighting upstairs, Hector got thrown into the fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Gets decapitated.
Fucking Anson's fucking, because Hector was like, I guess, a boxer. Like he was a guy from the streets that the Chewie brings in and mentors, and he says he takes it out on in the ring, and so he's beating the shit out of Anson and like breaks his arm.
Busts his up really bad.
In his arm, like for the rest of the movie, like the bones just popping out of his arm.
Yeah, he's in bad shape the rest of the film, but he still ends up getting the upper hand. So
I think that's the same point where they mentioned the air conditioner being the only way out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. And then at some point the chef gets killed too. He gets his neck broken.
Yeah.
Which is like
not even just broken, like twisted around.
Yeah.
A few twists on it.
Yeah. And which is funny, which I guess, he was able to do that in the middle of having this insane allergic reaction where he was like foaming at the mouth and couldn't breathe and couldn't see. Somehow he was able to break the chef's neck.
And
the boiling water got thrown at him.
Boiling water checked on him.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was a smart move by
That was a smart move.
You see him turn it on like right before the fight happens.
Yeah. I'm not even really sure why the chef got killed, to be honest, because he could have just like wailed on him like while he was grabbing his neck. I don't know. Was he tied up? Was something happening? I don't even.
Just chained up. Yeah.
I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know. It was a weird movie because like we're kind of describing it, but most of the movie was kind of just like the characters sort of standing around and talking again, like sort of like the last two movies we watched. Most of this movie was just folks standing around and talking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Guess that's the one thing they all have in common.
Yeah, and a brief mention of Halloween.
Yeah, and a brief mention of Halloween. Yeah.
Anson and Carrie reunite and head into the kitchen, where Anson sees his brother's condition and learns from Steph that Carrie betrayed him and brought Yannick the basil.
Yeah.
While Anson holds his brother, he succumbs to his wounds and anaphylaxis. Carrie frees Bert, a random patron who has been kept hostage in the kitchen. The random guy that
drunk guy.
Yeah.
The loser.
Yeah. Basically is in the movie just to be a loser, and that's it.
Yeah. Together they head upstairs to escape through an opening for an air conditioner when Anson suddenly runs out of the kitchen.
Oh yeah, wait, and Mimi got killed at some point too, didn't she?
Oh yeah. There was a fight between the Carrie girl and Mimi, yeah.
Right. Oh, okay, that's it.
She gets stabbed with a bottle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was great, because honestly I found her character to be pretty insufferable.
I did too, until she switched to the American accent.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, she's fucking crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, that should have
even more crazy.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
At least it did happen.
Yeah, she was for the whole movie. Like, so where she came from was last year's. The brothers did this last year.
Yeah.
And she got she was one of the victims, but also played along kind of like the main character did in this one. But she went through with it. Like, she even said, you know, the difference between me is I walk the walk.
Yeah. It turns out she's actually, like, not only is she extremely sadistic and a cannibal, but she's also really smart.
Yeah.
So
she was using the British accent because her brother, or whatever, Frankie? Whatever the fuck his name is.
It might have been another Frankie, yeah.
McPoyle.
Oh, McBoyle.
McPoyle twin. He liked the accent. He mentioned it so much. And and so she was faking an accent, I guess, the whole year that they were hanging out, plotting this next one.
Yeah, which was like, that's pretty weird, you know.
And then she drops it. And I thought, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool of her.
Yeah.
Even though I hated her for the entire rest of the movie.
Right, because up to that point, she was just generic, like, villain number 87, you know.
Crazy psycho lady.
Yeah. But, so they escaped through the duct. Or, wait, no, not the duct. The
air conditioning.
Yeah, the window.
It's in a wall that they kick out.
Yeah, well, one of them. Okay. Yeah, so then, the idiot goes first.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go so well. You can read what the Wikipedia article says if you want.
The guy was chasing him before that.
Yeah.
And then she shoots him with an arrow.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking she is safe, Carrie crawls out of the opening.
Maybe it doesn't mention it.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why,
it was so unimportant.
Yeah, the drunk guy doesn't really fit, so she throws him out, lands right on his fucking head.
And dies.
Yeah.
Which, thank God, because the last thing we needed at that point was extra characters. Like, get them out of the way. You know?
I thought that was fucking hilarious, too.
That was really funny. That actually probably was the best part of the movie, was the fact that the most insufferable character lands on his head and dies. Yeah. Just the end. He shouldn't have even been in the movie in the first place. So, moving on.
Like, he was portrayed as like a sad sack because he got denied because he proposed to his wife.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
And it didn't work because she turned out to be a lesbian.
Yeah, which is sad, you know. But that's what happens sometimes. It happens. You know?
And then there was a talk between him and Manny and Cricket.
Yeah.
He's like, do you ever think that because of who he is, it draws bad things to him? And I was like, maybe you're all in this shit just because he's there.
Well, probably, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he seemed okay when he was proposing, but after that didn't go well, he pretty much just became a giant douchebag. I mean, yeah. So anyway, so he lands on his head and he's dead. The end.
Dead. He lands on his head trying to escape.
Yeah. But then
she did say, "Brace yourself," too.
Oh yeah.
But he was like envisioning his wife.
Oh yeah.
He was like tripping out like a loser again. Like, oh, and he like dived down into his wife that wasn't there and fucking head splatted.
Yeah. And the film makes sure to show the close up on his face on the ground. He's grinning like he's the happiest person in the whole world. So
thinking she is safe, Carrie crawls out the opening, only for a revived Anson to appear and take a bite out of her leg.
Okay.
However, Carrie still manages to escape, though the fall from the opening kills Bert. Oh, okay, so it does mention it.
Oh, okay.
Carrie lives and is riding away on his Vespa.
Yeah, that was funny too.
That's hilarious.
While he was being chased by the kitty girl,
yeah,
he was like, "I have a moped! I have a moped!" Like that would save him.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
She's riding away on a Vespa when she is hit by an ambulance, whose driver happens to be someone she completed paramedic training with.
I saw that coming too.
I did too, yeah.
Right when she got on it.
It's like,
you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit.
Get hit. And boom.
Yeah, that specific wide angle. Yeah.
Yeah. That, and also the fact that she was like cheering as if she just like got away from like the greatest like disaster ever, and like she's so happy and thankful to be alive, and like she's celebrating a little too hard at that point. And then you cut to the wide angle. It's easy to see what's gonna happen next. Yeah.
And said ambulance driver is the director and the guy from Psych.
Yeah,
both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little touch.
That the directors ended up saving the main character.
Yeah.
Or did they? We didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Because they were shitty paramedics.
Oh yeah. They
like
were.
when they pulled her onto the stretcher, they just yanked her up. Like didn't have any neck support or back support. They just.
Yeah, they could have killed her.
They could have killed her right there. She could have been dead.
Yeah. They really were pretty much the worst paramedics ever.
And one of them was super high. He's like, "Do you see my eyes right now?"
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then several months later, we see Anson consulting with his brother, who is now a pickled head impaled on a stick.
Yeah.
Before heading into the convenience store he went into at the beginning. He visits with Bethany, gives her a single rose while proposing a romance between them.
Yeah.
And the camera pulls back to reveal Carrie across the street, scarred but alive, taking photos of them. She smiles into the camera before the screen cuts to black.
Sequel.
Oh gosh. So little twist at the end.
Yeah, I honestly even thought that maybe the brother was gonna live or lived.
Yeah.
Because she did say like give him a tracheotomy or whatever as she was
did
looking it out.
Yeah. And then he just
we just see it from the behind. We just see a quick shot of him talking, and it was like, he's talking to his brother. But then just a second later, it showed that he's just a pickled head on a stick.
But it would have actually made sense for him to perform a tracheotomy.
Yeah.
Like,
she just mentioned it. Just do a tracheotomy.
Which was actually good advice. I don't even know why she was giving him good advice, but yeah.
And he was like, "No, but I'm not trained. Why can't you do it? You're the paramedic. It's the creed of like you have to help him. Like doctors have to help.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of
Hippocratic oath. It was the Hippocratic oath.
Yeah.
And then she was just rebutted. I don't start till Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of dorky. The thing is, I actually, the makeup effects were cool, but there wasn't really enough of them. Like, it just kind of, I don't know. It was really slow. Nothing really moved. things did happen, but it just didn't really flow very well for me. Like it was, I don't know. It felt like the characters were just constantly being distracted by other things that were less important than like the fact that they were in a situation with these deadly cannibals. And it was sort of, I don't know, it was kind of hard to like care about a lot of what was going on, I guess, but the jokes were funny.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I like this one though.
Yeah.
Out of the three, actually like this one.
Yeah. I think I would have liked it more if like the scenario itself, because what makes a lot of shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and a lot of these other shows like really funny tends to have to do with like the scenarios that the characters are put in. And for me, like there wasn't really anything inherently funny about the scenario, about them being basically taken hostage. Like there could have potentially been humor there, but I don't know. It didn't feel like there was really anything inherently funny about what was going on. And so then like the characters were just kind of acting funny and saying funny things and being funny, but I don't know. It was still didn't really feel funny though. It still felt like it was trying to be like a horror movie. It was just sort of an odd thing. I don't know. It just didn't really feel right to me, I guess.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I liked it. Because I didn't think it was really a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was more of like like Murder Party, I guess. I mean, that was, I guess, more horror, but like...
Yeah.
What's the other one? Fucking... The one with the remote that they caught, Funny Games. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
There's a lot like that, because it was just a senseless murder, but it was kind of a wink to the, they broke the fourth wall in that, but like...
Yeah.
It was also just a meta kind of breaking movie, and I
That's
feel
true,
like this was kind of like that. It wasn't like straight horror.
Right.
I feel it was a bit more comedy than horror.
Okay.
But comedy serious, like, because I really appreciated like the dialogue.
Yeah.
Everything, like they were quick and witty and snappy.
Yeah.
Which surprised me to fuck, because the first scene was just so awfully like cheesy and corny improv shit. But then the rest of the movie had pretty good dialogue, and was written. I felt at least the dialogue and interactions between the characters were written well.
Yeah.
Maybe this other shit wasn't written that great, but like I, had like Sorkin-ish, fast talking, smooth talking, everyone being smart and shit.
Yeah. No, most definitely. And actually, a lot of it was really funny. For me, I also kind of felt like some of it sort of went on a little too long as well. Like, where like they'd be like one funny thing after another, and they would be cutting back and forth between like what was happening in the kitchen and then what was happening with the hostage situation with them with the razors or doing trivia and then like other things, and then like and it would be funny, but then it would just continue on with the characters just sort of doing that for a while, and after a while it just kind of felt like nothing was really happening, like, which is weird because there were a lot of characters in this, and pretty much just about almost everybody dies. And so, but when it all happens, it's sort of, I don't know, it kind of happens sort of in more selective type of moments. Like two characters die here, two characters die there. And it was interesting to sort of see that, but it just seemed really slow too. It was just strange to see all these people just kind of standing around talking, but having said that, like I did appreciate like how with like at least with the main characters, I don't know about like the cannibals, but at least with the main characters there was like you could get like a good you did get a good sense of like their sort of friendship and their togetherness and stuff. Like
they're good buddies.
They had great chemistry with each other, and it was pretty charming sometimes to sort of see them interact. And and maybe that's why like a lot of the early scenes in particular, like how it kind of took forever for these cannibals to even sort of like become a threat against all these people, some of whom, like the police officer, and the owner and a couple other people looked like the type of folks who could have easily taken down three kind of thin, people. But at the same time, I did like the fact that the film was sort of more focusing on like the intelligence aspect, less on like sort of the intensity of like the suspense, like trying to hide. And, where you look at like slasher movies like Halloween, with the Haddonfield reference, just, as an example, where there's a lot of physicality in the threatening situation where Michael Myers is going after Laurie Strode and attacking the closet, and it's like a battle of wits where she's having to actually hide and maneuver out of this situation, whereas these characters have to sort of talk their way out of these situations. And so, you don't really see that kind of thing very often. So I give it credit for that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really crazy about it. And I wasn't actually crazy about Funny Games either, believe it or not.
I loved that one.
Yeah, well, and it's weird too, because I love the director, Michael Haneke, and I think the idea of Funny Games is brilliant. But in a way, actually, the issues that I have with that movie are sort of the issues that I have with this one too, is like the fact that it's a lot of people kind of standing around and talking and not a whole lot else.
Well, I like that.
Yeah,
that's what, like, if I were like, I would be a dialogue heavy screenplay writer, I think.
Yeah.
If I ever make a movie, I'd probably be one of those.
There's definitely a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, I'd have to say part of the reason I liked Murder Party more had a lot to do with the fact that I actually genuinely found Murder Party to actually be funnier. Like, and I'm not sure how well you guys remember that one, but for me, like, Murder Party was really witty. Like, it was definitely like playing at sort of a low-fi level, and it was definitely cheap in a lot of regards, but I felt like that sort of worked for the style that they were going for with Murder Party.
Yeah,
because
I like that style of humor better than what Gravy was doing.
Yeah, because like with Murder Party, it felt grungy and weird, but it was also quirky, and I liked what they did with it. But here it felt sort of a little bit at odds, just a little bit, just because it was a comedy, but it kind of wasn't.
Yeah,
I liked Murder Party more for sure, but I like this one. I did like this one.
Yeah, that's good.
And there were some there was a bunch of stupid sound effects too.
Oh yeah, the sound effects were funny.
Like sometimes the Charlie Day character would like do a little jump and run out the wind, like run out to the next room, and it would do like a little Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Like there were a bunch of those little cartoon sound effects, and they would do shit. I was like,
yeah. The sound design in this movie was interesting, I gotta say, like especially like the wet sounds of like the eating of the bodies and stuff. Like
when they were eating, they were definitely like putting their mics to their mouth.
Yeah.
Like early on too, when they were just chilling in the back, she was studying. Yeah. Like there was just that close-up shot of her eating a nacho, and there was the crunch.
Yeah. I liked that. That was cool. I did enjoy that, even though I thought, even though like the idea of eating like a human being is completely revolting, yeah. I still thought like the way the sound design was done in a lot of those scenes was like pretty, I don't know. I liked it. It was weird, but I liked it. Like,
lots of foreshadowing.
There was
that, and then the fucking cricket was taking care of the fish. And
yes.
She dropped the thing, and she's like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
And drunk dude bent, like the reason why he was knocked out was because he tripped and fell, knocked his head. He died, smashing his head into the ground. So.
Which I always appreciate when I watch a horror movie and somebody dies by hitting their head. Because even though once in a while that happens in real life, but most of the time it doesn't really happen to the average person, obviously. Obviously, like when people hit their heads, that's one thing, but most of the time people don't die from hitting their heads. So when it happens in a horror movie, that's always just kind of charming to me. It happened in one of the Halloween movies as well. I forget which one, but like I remember one of the characters slips on blood, and that's another thing. I like the fact that one of the characters in that slipped on blood, but one of the characters slips on blood and hits his head and dies. Like that's such a great way to die. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't crazy about it, but it had its own sort of sense of charm. I don't know. Maybe I would watch it again.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I gave it 2.5, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I'd probably give it probably 2. Maybe 3.
I'd give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah. like out of the 3 films on this episode, this was definitely the one I liked the most.
Yeah. This is the
like,
one I had the least notes on.
Yeah.
Just because I was actually like, usually if the shittier it is, the more notes I put down.
Yeah.
The only note I had was like in the very beginning was be a Mexican with the lexicon.
Yeah.
Because Chewie was like, trying to mentor the boxer guy, and he was saying hombre and essay and stuff, and he's like, don't do that, be the Mexican with the lexicon.
Yeah. No, that was good. And I actually did like it's, again, just to kind of mention, I did like the characters' chemistry. So
yeah,
and I'm glad
they were friends and buddies and shit.
They were. You just got that vibe, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
And also I'm glad you like funny games, because honestly, like
awesome.
Objectively speaking, that is actually a really brilliant movie. I just personally can't find it in myself to like a movie like that, personally.
I really like them when there's just senseless bad guys. Like that's why I like the Dark Knight so much. He just wants to fuck shit up for no reason.
Yeah. There's nothing like a villain that really just exists just to make everybody's life as miserable as possible.
One of my favorite horrors is actually Strangers. Liv Tyler one or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Just that one really fucking freaked me out because it's just like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
They're just fucking creepy fucking killers killing us for no reason.
It's people playing like these senseless mind games on innocent victims. I
like that. So that's that is definitely one of the reasons why I liked this one, was just because there's no like greater goal for the bad guys. It's just them being fucked up people wanting to kill people.
Yeah. And for that, I definitely like give it mad props. So, and I guess that concludes this episode. So, do you guys have picks for next week? Because I sort of have one, or not next week, but next sort of episode where we talk about 3 films. Because should I just say mine first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I've chosen Devil's Story, made in 1985. I don't know how good it is or how bad it is or whatever. I just chose it based on the title and the poster. So, and I'm assuming it's on YouTube, but I could be wrong. So last time I checked, it was. So.
All right.
Okay. My choice is The Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man. Okay.
Yep. Starring Gary Busey.
Oh, sweet.
It's a full moon one too.
Oh, great.
Which, by the way, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Nice.
I got the full moon streaming service. If you guys want to use it at some point.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So it has all their stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I saw it on, because I did look it up. I saw it on Prime and I had to sign up for that thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good to know.
Mine is going to be Rockula.
Rockula?
Rockula.
All right.
About a vampire in a rock band.
Oh, I love it.
Excellent. These are our real Halloween choices. I like these titles. Cool. All right.
What was yours?
Devil's Story, 1985.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, until next time, peace. So.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Ooh, happy Halloween. Ooh.
All right.